A friend of mine sent me an email recently that I found really intriguing. He's a very successful business person and somebody who subscribes to low carbon home and has been giving a lot of thought to the issue of climate change and the question as to whether human activity is hastening climate change or not. And he wanted me to look at a PowerPoint presentation that his uncle had put together that really argued for that climate change is cyclical and that the changes that are happening are a natural process, and many of the measures that are being used to measure CO2 in the atmosphere are skewed in some way. And in asking me what I thought, I really gave it some thought. And while I personally agree that climate change is caused by human activity, and a lot of the circumstantial evidence, independent of survey measures and the empirical evidence, when you look at the changes in the season and how it correlates with an enormous use of fossil fuel in the last 100 years, I'll set that aside. I have no attachment to that. And it still begs the question. It begs the question of the change that needs to happen right now. It needs to happen, and it needs to be immediate. And whether you believe in climate change being caused by human activity or not, the future of the economy is really, really dependent on us coming up with a new way to generate inexpensive energy. And if the American economy and the world economy is going to continue to grow, it has to grow in a sustainable way. And there's a number of factors that are coming into play. At this point, the population of the planet is higher than it's ever been, and it's continuing to grow to a point where the amount of resources that are available for the next generation, given the size of it, are going to fall far short. And there's a geologic imperative. We are going to run out of easily accessible oil. We are going to run out of coal, whether it's in this generation or the next generation, and we have to prepare. And the consequences of not being prepared are unthinkable. They're absolutely unacceptable. So you combine that fact with what's going to be the next big economic engine, and the only thing that is viable is for us to create a green economy. A green economy is going to create jobs, and the good news is that the green economy is going to create jobs at a level that the information economy didn't even come close. The changes that have to take place, and the requirement of everybody's participation in that, and the innovation that'll come from creating sensible government policies that incent businesses and organizations and individuals to make those changes, it'll create more jobs than we've seen in this country in the entire history of the country. And that has nothing to do with whether you believe in climate change being caused by human activity or not. It's just simply an economic imperative that we come up with something that's going to create jobs in the future. And greening our economy and shifting our economy over to renewable, sustainable forms of energy and food production and living is going to create that. So when you look at who you're going to vote for in the next election, you really want to look from who's thinking 50 years into the future, not who's thinking a couple years down the road.